Hi, good morning and welcome back to my channel. Today is Wednesday. It is 5:51. I am gonna start my day with a walk. I've already had my coffee and like my me time. I've started like adding a walk into, into my daily routine, probably for like the last maybe like 10 days. And it's made such a difference in how I feel. And I especially prefer how I feel when I start my day with a walk rather than just like getting a walk in at some point. And I think it's partially because it's another thing that is just mine. Hold your horses. This baby, my goodness. I think it's just because it's another thing that's just mine and it's in like the wee hours of the morning, nobody's around. I either will let myself watch a TV show, which I don't often get the time to do, or because I have the walking pad with like my desk, I'll go a little bit slower and I'll get like a jump start on like emails and stuff like that for like my job. So yeah, let's get this Wednesday started. Hopefully this guy will let me walk without holding him. That's an extra 30 pounds I don't need. That's dramatic. I think he's 20 pounds, but that's still a really heavy cat. Okay. Trying something different. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. Honestly, I'm just trying to figure everything out. And if that's not the entirety of my whole life at the moment, I don't know what is. I fed my sourdough starter last night. She looks great. She's very healthy. My favorite thing to make right now is pizza dough. We do pizza night every Friday night. Usually I do a frozen pizza and dress it up. I love the thin crust pizzas from Aldi. They are so good. So good. I look forward to them all week long. They are not as good, however, as homemade pizza dough. That's just next level. It's so delicious, but it's easy to screw up. And 2 weeks ago, best pizza of my life. Last week, it was good. It wasn't great. I think the factor that played into it the most was like the freeze defrost situation. I must have done something wrong there. The dough just was not as delicious as it was the week prior when it was fresh dough. So now I'm trying to work out my baking schedule to ensure we have fresh dough on Fridays. So I fed my starter last night. It's done its thing. I'm going to discard and feed now so that this evening it's ready for me to mix the dough. It'll bulk ferment overnight and then put it in the fridge tomorrow morning. And then I don't know, is that too long to be in the fridge? I don't know. Tomorrow night, I will do all of the shaping and all of that kind of stuff and put the 2 doughs that we're gonna use on Friday in an airtight container. And hopefully this is my schedule moving forward. I am gonna half the recipe, so I'm only making the dough that we need. I will, if I can get a grip on the freeze defrost situation, I will bulk create all of these things and so that I have doughs to pull from the freezer. But for right now, I really like the taste of the fresh dough. So we're gonna work on that and work on perfecting that, and then we'll go from there. And I was telling my husband the other day, I was like, how is it possible? If this is not the most Joey thing that has ever existed in all of the land, pizza night on Friday nights is my gift to myself because it's the easiest thing. It's a frozen pizza. You throw it in the oven. It's like my break, right? It's like the easy thing. And not to say like my husband's perfectly capable and willing to cook. I just like to do it. But by the end of the week, I am just tired and I love pizza. And nothing makes me happier than like eating pizza on a Friday night. And now I've turned the easiest thing into a several day labor of love. So let's discard, feed, and move on. Okay, I've mixed her to be very stiff, so hopefully we get some very strong gluten strands. And I'm actually gonna put her on the very top shelf because it's the warmest up there. Mav's at his house. Hyperfixation meals are like a real thing for me. I'm sure you guys probably know that by now if you've been hanging out here for a minute. The thing is though, I'll eat them until I'm literally sick of them and then can't stomach the idea of them for the longest time. And then what happens is I'll rediscover them later and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. And then it'll become a hyperfixation all over again and the cycle continues. It's just the way my life goes. right now, I'm real into a breakfast that I loved a couple of years ago. It is like a protein pancake sandwich, breakfast sandwich. Protein pancake breakfast sandwich? Is that what I would call it? It's kind of sweet because I use the vanilla protein powder, but you take half a scoop of your protein powder and 2 tablespoons of pancake batter, and then technically 2 tablespoons of water. I use a little bit more because I want my pancakes to be thinner.
Thank you.
Thank you, bud. I use a little bit more water. I basically just put water in it till it's the texture that I want it to be, because I want my pancakes to be a little bit thinner, because while I used to eat this as a sandwich, like 2 pancakes on top and the egg mixture in the middle, now I like my pancakes a little bit thinner and a little bit bigger, so to speak. And then I put the egg mixture in the middle and I eat it like a taco. I'm gonna make that for breakfast because I am very hungry. I did already have a protein shake like 2.5 hours ago. So if you're like, Joey, it's like nearly 10 o'clock in the morning, why are you just now eating breakfast? That is why. So let's go ahead and make some breakfast. Then by the time this is made and I've eaten it and gotten a little bit more work done, it'll be time for the kiddo to go down for his rest. And then that starts the second shift of my day. Then we also like look at their days and shifts. I have to. It's just how I survive. Again, that's maybe something I should bring up in therapy. You want to go big outside? You need shoes on and coat. This is what happens when, well, you're a toddler parent, then you know. Aw, you guys, I have to tell you, my Nespresso machine that I've been pretty much raving about in every single video I've ever made ever, because I make a latte every single day, and sometimes my husband also makes a latte every single day. So this little sucker, like, he's been with us through some things. We got him Christmas of 2017, and he has been well loved, and he has done his job well. Well, guys, I think we finally killed him. He will still make coffee. I have to like force it out of him. And I feel like him and our old Roomba, the Roomba that like used to scream when it did its job there at the end of its life, I feel like they will live a very happy life in their retirement center together. So our new Nespresso machine is getting delivered, I think tomorrow. But it's a sad day. He's been on his last leg for a minute. And finally this weekend, like my husband kept making the call and I'm like, it's not over. It's not over yet. Like he's still here. He's still with us. We can still make it work. And if that's not me like white knuckling things until the very end, I don't know what it is. Anyway, I think I mentioned, actually I'm almost certain I mentioned in my last vlog about the whole idea of like minimizing the things that I like or that I want as like silly. I mentioned that like it was discussed in a therapy session, and I've really been thinking about that a lot lately and kind of using that new understanding or like approach and looking back at some other experiences I've had in my life, like really good and happy and like sweet moments that were quintessentially exactly what I would have wanted. And I'm realizing now that, because I'm trying to get to the root of this. And you may not care about this, you can skip ahead because this chat may not be for everybody. But I was trying to get to the root of like, not why necessarily. Like I don't necessarily need to know like the childhood trauma that triggered this. I don't know that it matters. I don't think that it's something that I care so much about because I can't go back and change whatever caused this to happen. But what I do want to get to the root of is like, what is it essentially that I'm trying to avoid by minimizing what I want? And there's 2 things that I've discovered. One of them is just like a blanket generality. The other is what I've been taught by looking back through some experiences that I've had and how I felt in those moments, and then the regret I would feel afterwards through this new lens that I have at the moment. The first one is, the reason I minimize is because I'm trying to avoid disappointment. And that's interesting. Like, it's almost like I'm just off the bat disappointing myself, because I'm like, the second I think I want something, or the second I think I would enjoy something, or the second, like, it's like instantaneous, I'm immediately dismissing it as if it's never gonna happen, or it's not important, so it's not worth pursuing, or it's not gonna happen for me, like this isn't something I get to have. And so in an attempt to avoid or protect myself from disappointment, I'm just constantly disappointing myself by never even giving myself the chance to experience or have things that I want, because I minimize them so much that I never make them enough of a priority to make them happen or to have those things. So that's an interesting thing to realize. The other thing that I noticed, and this is through that, reflection, is I've had several situations in my life that I've either had or experienced exactly what I would want, right? Like whether I made it happen myself, or it happened just naturally, or it happened for me, like someone made it happen for me, or I was gifted something, or I bought something, or I had an experience just by the nature of life. And looking back at how I felt in those moments, it's almost like, if you've ever seen the movie Click, maybe this will make sense for you, but the part of that movie is he's like rushing through things, right? And he finds this magic remote that he can essentially fast forward through certain moments in his life. And in retrospect, it almost feels like that's what I was doing in those moments. And some of these are like specific, like bracketed, smaller moments in time where, I, like for instance, my wedding day, or, a certain vacation day that was maybe just really fun, whatever the situation might be. Sometimes it's a little bit bigger of a bracket where maybe it's the season of life that you have like a really fun, cherished group of friends that are only going to be, like your lives are only going to look exactly like this for this particular period of time. Or it's like over an entire like chapter of life. It's almost like if things line up too much how I might want them to look, I start to almost self-sabotage them because I know they're gonna end, or they're not gonna stick around, or it can't last. And so I do this thing where I start to like preemptively detach myself from the moment I'm experiencing in an attempt to avoid the heartache and disappointment of when it's over. You guys, like what the heck is that? Like that's the most messed up sentence to come out of my mouth. But I have a feeling I'm not alone in that. And as I've gotten older, I have the gift of experience in knowing that the beautiful thing in life, whether good or bad, is that nothing lasts forever. And I used to have this like mantra, in fact, I've kind of gotten away from it, is that like, this is temporary, this is temporary. And that can be from a very negative perspective, and I never mean it negatively. It's meant to be a reminder in moments of things being hard that this is temporary. It will not last. There is another side to this. You will be past this experience at some point. But it's also my reminder when things are good to cherish it and to experience it. And the thought that I had, I thought about this a lot when I was walking yesterday, is the thought that I had, and this kind of ties back to the video I made about like things I want to do more of in 2025, is I really need to learn to just like slow down, number one, and experience the moment that I'm in. But I also, and this is like an asterisk, like bolded lettering realization, is I have to get over the discomfort that I feel of when I get what I want and allow myself to enjoy the moment I have it. And I don't know, it's almost like I get shy, or like I just get uncomfortable. Like in the moments that I get what I want, I get really uncomfortable, as if getting what I want is a bad thing. or like something that I shouldn't be proud of, or something that I don't deserve to enjoy. And I have an idea of where this has come from in my childhood, like a very specific moment in time. Again, that doesn't matter. Like, I don't place blame on anything, but I've learned in my adult years that if I haven't learned, there's no evidence of this. Let me rephrase this. I have adopted the approach that I shouldn't ask for what I want. And if I do ask for what I want and I get what I want, that I don't deserve to enjoy it or be excited about it or have it. Like, it's the weirdest thing. And I realize this conversation might seem completely out of the blue. I hope it's not. I hope it's tying into some of the other vlogs that I've had, because again, this whole journey in 2025 is to kind of like get to a place where I have a relationship with myself the same way I would have with like a best friend. I would do anything for a friend, and I would do anything to help a friend believe and understand and accept that they deserve all the great things they want in life, and that there's like, none of this is real. This is another kind of like mantra I used to have, especially back when I lost my job and like everything crazy was happening. The thing that got me through all of that was like a moment of full-on detachment, and not in a negative way, but it was just like this full-on detachment of like, none of this is real, which means it can be whatever we want it to be. Let's try this again while the toddler is napping and therefore will not be screaming in the background. I'm not sure there's necessarily a point to this conversation other than the fact that like, I like that I'm questioning it, because I didn't before. I never really faced this head on. I've just always known it was a part of who I am, and I don't want it to be anymore. So we're gonna make sure that's the case moving forward. What I do want to do is prep my lunch so that I have my lunch with me when I go to take my kid to school. I've been loving something that when I describe it to you, you're gonna be like, ew, gross. You're just gonna have to trust me. I'm a stranger on the internet asking you to trust me, so I get it if you don't ever try this. But I've been making a bowl that is super satisfying, doesn't upset my stomach at all, high in protein, and really, really delicious. I'm gonna make it, and then you can tell me what you think of it. So I don't think this is ever what you want, but I'm currently just sat on the side of the road. I've, in an emergency attempt to keep this guy cool, given him a laptop. My car just died. Yeah, my car just died. So my mom is gonna come. I'm gonna toss the car seat into her car so we can get my kiddo to school. My husband's gonna come and I suppose deal with the car situation, I guess. I don't know, but I'm just gonna sit here and drink my coffee and I guess wait. Luckily, so my whole system failed, like my whole electrical system failed, and so that included like my brakes and everything else, my power steering, everything. So luckily I was able to slow down enough, and then there was like this little turn off right here, and I'm very safely tucked on the side of like a side street, so I feel very safe. That could have gone much differently, so I'm very grateful for that. Very curious what this is now going to mean, but in the meantime, I'm grateful for coffee, a laptop, and people that can come rescue me. It's 2 o'clock, and I'm just gonna eat some lunch now. It looks disgusting, but I promise it's actually really good. Update on the car. So we changed the battery and thought that was the fix. It was not. So now my poor husband is out in the driveway at my mom's house attempting to change my alternator. So we're gonna see how that goes. But in the meantime, at least we made it here. I wasn't sure because like I said, my whole system powered down, my power steering, the brakes, everything. So luckily I was able to make it from where the car broke down all the way back to my mom's house. So now if it needs to hang out here for a couple days, it can. And it's a safe place for him to work on it. So anyway, I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna try to get the project for work done. And then I literally have to go get my son in like an hour. So it's gonna be a marathon of an afternoon with some car trouble thrown in, which is not really what you want, but it is what it is. Literally none of today is going to plan. But the good news is I'm fully stopped, for the record. We are lucky enough that my niece is actually out of town. And so my sister was like, just take her car, because my husband is still fixing my car. We did go in Ian's car. And now we are in the McDonald's drive-thru. Is it the healthiest choice? No. Was I really excited to have my grilled chicken and roasted broccoli for dinner? I really was. I'm also excited to have this. So we are all secured in. We're gonna go drop dinner off to my husband and then head home. This is so pathetic. Oh God, I look like I've had the day that I've had. But this is so pathetic because I was going to potentially just like put off making the dough for tomorrow, even though that's cutting it kind of close, because I'm like, it's just too late. I just got my kid down. A lot has happened. Everyone is fine. Everything is fine. My car is at my mother's house. I'm driving my niece's vehicle, as I said earlier, and I came out from putting my son down. I'm like, it's just too late. Like, I just need to go take a shower and go to bed. Y'all, it's 7:30, and it takes about 2 hours to prep the dough, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. My starter is looking good. I'm likely going to have a cat screaming in the background the whole time because we've been gone a lot of hours, and he's a big time needy mama's boy. All right, let's see. The recipe for this is written on the side of my fridge, so you're gonna see me like pop over there every few minutes. All right, Alexa, what is half of 190? 95 grams of active starter. That is a really good looking starter, if I do say so myself. Yikes. Well, I say it was perfect. God, that is a good looking starter. Proud of that. Now I need 310 grams of water. Using my dough whisk. 10 grams of olive oil, okay, and then 450 grams of flour. Oh, I'm making a mess. Using my dough whisk again. I'm gonna mix all this together. Okay, so now that it's all mixed, I'm gonna cover and let rest for 30 minutes. It is time to add the salt. I'm doing 12.5, so really 13 grams, and a splash of water. That was probably too much. And then you mix for 5 minutes. Yeah, that was too much water. Alexa, set timer for 5 minutes. All right, so I did mix for 5 minutes. I forgot that I was halving this recipe, so I'm actually gonna put my dough in a different bowl. But now, cover, and we wait 30 minutes for our first set of stretch and folds. Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes. I might regret this, but I'm abbreviating a little bit because I'm tired. You're also kind of dirty. That better? Cover back up. Another 30 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes. Do I look tired? Because I am tired. But we're doing our last set of stretch and folds. I didn't record the middle one because it's all the same. But I'm gonna do this and then I'll bring you back, cover, and set for bulk fermentation. Okay, I'm gonna cover it with plastic wrap. I've checked the dollar stores a few times for those like disposable shower curtains to use for this. I cannot find them. I cannot find them at any dollar store. So I'm either looking in the wrong place and need to actually like ask a shop attendant. Not that I really ever see one at dollar store, like if I'm in the wrong place or they just don't sell them anymore. But either way, covered. I'm gonna put her on the top shelf. Again, that's the warmest place in my kitchen. And she's just gonna do her thing overnight and she should double in size by the morning. I feel like this is like the most, not unnecessary update, but just sort of, it's not an instructional, that's for sure. But this is what the dough looks like. So lots of air bubbles. It's puffed up. It's doubled in size. So this is This is as easy as it gets. You just take it and you put it in the fridge. No, you asked for a banana, you're gonna have a banana. I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video right here. Basically, once I've put it in the fridge, it hangs out in there for like a day, and then I take it out and I just cut it into dough-sized balls and shape them a little bit. I'm gonna put it in an airtight container so we can use it tomorrow. And that's as simple as that. So again, taking something that was super simple, turning it into a labor of love, but it's a fun labor of love. It's so easy to do. It just, you have to have some planning involved, and it's a little bit like time consuming, but not difficult. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with me for this very chaotic day. Definitely did not go the way I intended it to go, but you know what? I'm so glad that everything worked out the way that it did. We are literally about to go hop into my niece's car and go to school and hope for better results this time than we had yesterday. Anyway, thank you guys again. If you resonated with this content at all, or you just feel like we could be friends, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, comment down below, and let me know if you've had a chaotic week. I feel like this week has been a month. That's okay. Anyway, I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye.